Welcome back to another episode of Open Shut. Thanks everyone for watching, listening, wherever this thing is, Google, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever this is. Thanks for tuning in and listening to another great episode with Michele Thompson. Huge thanks to Michele. Thanks for jumping on this thing.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Here.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, we were just chatting offline about a whole bunch of stuff, but where we want to take the conversation. So maybe we can just maybe give a quick intro about yourself, Michele.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, Paul, I want to thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. As I mentioned before, I've listened to a few of the past interviews, and I think it's wonderful that we're able to share our experiences, our own photographic journey, and that we can relate with one another. So thank you for hosting this podcast.
My pleasure. You're welcome.
So in terms of introduction of my own introduction, I am Michele Thompson, the photographer behind Magpie and Moo Photography.
Make sure you go check the account out.
Thank you very much.
The link is in the description of this video. And just curious, like, what's the background on the handle?
It's actually two of my nicknames that my family has given me, Magpie and Moo. So I combined it, and that's the name of my my handle.
Shout out to the family.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I think some of them are on, hopefully.
Hopefully, fam.
So in terms of my photographic journey, I would say that I became more seriously interested in photography back in 2017, 2018, when I was first diagnosed with major depressive disorder, which is more commonly known as acute depression and anxiety.
Okay.
And as part of my journey back to mental wellness, which is where I am now, I did turn to photography to help me cope through many of my more difficult moments during that 2-year period. I think for many of us out there, many photographers of us out there, we can relate to the fact that when we are behind our camera, whether we're out in nature or roaming about the city, we are really focused in on allow us to focus in on that moment or that scene. And by doing so, it helps our mind clear. Because of those of us who do have anxiety, sometimes what happens is that there's a lot of thoughts that just seem to be bouncing off the walls inside our head. And by able to just focusing on one thing and focusing on the details that photography can bring us, it allows our mind to rest. So the more I did that, the more I was able to teach myself how to retrain my mind to rest during those moments. And that's why I credit it a lot to bringing me back to the mental wellness that I am right now.
Wow. So were you into photography before this? Like, was it something always kind of around you, or?
It was photography, I took photos on my iPhone, and they were like, the photos that a mother usually takes, of their children on vacation and things like that. But I never really paid attention to anything else. I think that in terms of those beautiful moments that we see, that, for example, how a light filters through the trees and how it may sparkle because there's dust particles in the air, those beautiful moments, I realized the more that I did it, I never noticed those things before. So that's why I say that 2018 was probably my turning point, when I really needed photography to ground me during certain moments of my day. That it made me develop some sort of a passion towards seeing more and appreciating more. And I think that kind of also reframed how I approach life in general. It wasn't just about being the perfect mom, like a great work-life balancer. It was just about living and just appreciating those smaller moments.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that. What photos were you taking during this period? Like, were you trying to focus on a niche, or were you just kind of walking around and taking photos, whatever kind of caught your eye?
I think I focused mainly on just being outdoors. Because also the exercise helps too when you're out walking, breathing the fresh air. So when I first started, I knew nothing about photography. I started photography even back in 2018 with my iPhone. I didn't even know what exposure was.
Yeah.
When someone says you got to lower the exposure, I said, well, what's that? But it was
Right.
about, went and took a lot more outdoor photos. And that's probably why I tend to gravitate towards landscape photography.
Right.
And the more I did it, and over the years, I learned more about how to get a great photo.
Yeah.
Or at least what I think is a great photo.
Yeah. What do you think is a great photo in your view?
Well, the best photos are the ones where you have a great experience getting it.
So the story behind it.
The story behind it, because it's I was watching one of your past interviews, I think it was with Eddie, and he said it's really about that moment, that experience that you can't take away. And I completely agree with that. Those are the best photos, when you have that experience and you have that you have the photo, the composition of the photo just works really, really well, then that's a great photo to me.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. I think almost the story getting the photo is almost sometimes better than the photo itself.
Oh yeah, and I have a lot more of those too.
Yeah. I mean, what are some of your what are some of the stories that you can share?
Well, of ones we have great moments and not a great photo.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times it's just waking up early and just going to the beach, hoping to get a great sunrise. But it's like the sunrise doesn't materialize, right? You don't get the right colors, so you're not going to get the great photo. No. But it's like the time that just getting, recently I was in Hilton Head Island, and my daughter, who is not one to get up early, she did wake up early, and we had to take one of my dogs with us because he tends to whine when I'm not there. And just taking him in, and he's blind, but we had to take the stroller with. I had to buy a stroller for him, put him in the stroller, and he just falls asleep in the stroller. So we're walking on the beach at sunrise. Nice. And that moment itself was just very, very peaceful. Yeah. But I didn't get the shot. There was nothing to shoot.
Yeah. I like sunrise. I like sunrises too, just because of that. Just because that even if the shot isn't there, at least you kind of got like a moment to yourself,
Yeah, and it's usually quieter, and it's.
I like it more than sunset. I like it more than sunset.
I'm with you on that too. Yeah. It's just a feeling about sunrise. I don't know what it is about a sunrise, but it's maybe it's just the fact that it's the beginning of a new day, and it's the light is getting brighter. There's a lot of parallels with light and hope and happiness and all that. And I think I tend to gravitate towards that for that reason.
Sure. Yeah. It's like a spiritual moment.
Yes.
Almost,
yes.
Right? But are you doing sunrises now?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I do tend to do sunrises more than sunsets. Yeah. Right. Even the summer ones where you have to be up at 4 o'clock.
Or whatever,
yeah. That's why winter sunsets are a little bit better, because they're a little bit later.
Sure.
But it's the other reason too that I tend to gravitate towards sunrise is that I like going to experiencing that blue hour and golden hour as it's getting brighter, versus sunset, where you can still experience a golden hour and blue hour, but it's getting darker. Which for safety reasons and all that sort of stuff, I tend not to do that as much.
Sure.
Yeah. That's why I carry a tripod. That's my protection to some extent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with photographer in a tripod, because that may not go well for you. Curious and great way to deal with understanding. It is okay to not be perfect too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Kara.
Love a good sunrise. Is this part of your family too?
Yeah, that's my son.
Son. Okay, shout out to your son.
Yeah, that's my son, Christopher.
Good. Yeah, if you guys have questions, feel free to fire them off. You can put Michele on the hot seat or something.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now? Like what do you plan to do for the summertime for photos and stuff? Do you have a plan in your head?
Yeah, one of my dream shots to get is a moon alignment in New York City.
Okay.
I've done some moon alignments here. And that's another thing too, when I was talking about things I didn't know about and things that I learned through photography. I didn't even know that a moonrise or a moonset even existed before I became part of this community. So, shooting a moon alignment with the wonderful photographers that are out there has been a great experience.
Yeah.
Now I want to move towards towards New York City, where I do spend part of my time, and doing alignment there. Just so many great buildings there. You've got the Edge, you got the Empire State Building, One Vanderbilt, of course, Lady Liberty. So there's many great opportunities to do alignments there. So that's my plan for this summer, hopefully. And there's some great photographers there that I hopefully can meet up with and shoot with them.
Yeah, I just Googled New York sun alignment. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's some great ones.
Okay.
Even with the bridges there, it's just amazing, the opportunities. Toronto, I think it's harder for me to find an alignment that works well other than with the CN Tower.
Something like this?
Well, that's the Manhattan Henge. So that's happening today, actually, there.
Today?
Yeah, today is the
Why are you
Henge there.
here? You gotta go down
I
there.
know. I just came back from South Carolina. We stopped off at Hilton Head, but then I came back here. It happens twice a year there. No, the alignment, if you type in alignment with like, I think the most recent one was with Statue of Liberty.
New York Sun alignment, Statue of Liberty?
Yeah. Or with the...
like this?
Oh, it'd be moon alignment. Sorry. Yeah, that's a sun alignment, moon alignment. I follow several people. Yeah, like that. Like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't that amazing?
You want that shot? Okay.
Yeah, I want that shot.
Damn.
I know.
That's like out of the movie right there.
I know, right? That's amazing. I think I have to go over to New Jersey to shoot that.
Do you?
Yeah.
So you're using apps? Are you using apps for this too? To like?
Yeah, I use Photo Pills is the big one, but there's another one that I use called Planet.
Okay.
PLANIT.
Okay.
That I also use as well. The one thing I like about Planet is that the app itself can put the skyline in for you. So depending on your your location, it'll tell you gives you an idea of what it will look like.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Is it free or you gotta pay for that?
That one I think you have to pay. I think it was like it's like Photo Pills. You just have to pay that one time. Yeah, one-time fee.
This is epic shot though. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Kidding.
I mean, there's so many opportunities. You have that, and then you also have like the Empire State Building has alignment. One Vanderbilt.
How did you find out about this?
Just by the people that I follow on Instagram.
You saw it, yeah.
Yeah. So there's some great photographers out there that do these alignments. And then they also go to one of my friends. He just went to Philadelphia. I think it was Philadelphia, or Reading, Philadelphia, and there's a pagoda there, and he photographed the moon behind the pagoda.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Jeez.
Let me just look up his handle so you can see.
Yeah. Hopefully you get that, because that could be like photo of the year.
Yeah, photo of my year, because other people have gotten great photos. Yeah, but it's been amazing. Yeah, there's some great alignment photographers in New York City that I really admire their work.
That's cool.
Yeah, my friend is amp_visual_imagery
on Instagram.
Yeah,
amp_visual_imagery. AMP?
Yep.
AMP_. Oh, I see. Got it. AMP.
There's another one called Dan.
Oh yeah. Why is it? This is a model shoot? Did you do models? No. This was San Diego.
Nope. I think you must have typed in the wrong thing.
AMP_imagery?
Visual imagery. Visual_imagery.
Got it.
The other one is
I found
Dan TV USA. He does amazing work too.
Let's see this.
So shout out to my friend Adam in New York.
Shout out to Adam. Thanks
Yeah.
for watching.
Actually, I think he's in New Jersey. The other one that I love is Dan TV USA. Dan Martin, DAN TV USA.
DNTV
USA.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know, right?
Look at that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it
So
doesn't
that
even
is
look
my
real, eh? Like, it doesn't
yeah, I
even
know.
look at, what is this? Oh my God.
Yeah, playing with against the moon. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I aspire
That's
to
what
do.
this is.
Yeah.
This is like inspiration for you.
Yeah, then my inspiration, and it's also like the again, it's for me, it's more so about the experience than the actual shot. Though, of course, getting the shot is a big bonus, which
Yeah,
you can never take away from
it's
the
about like the
phone.
learning.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee when I go the first time, I wouldn't want to come back because something's hasn't worked out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kira, do you shoot with an audience in mind? Good question,
Yes.
Kira.
Yeah,
Good question.
me.
You,
The audience
okay.
is myself, right? Really.
Oh, okay.
I don't shoot thinking, oh, this is going to be a photo that is going to do well on Instagram, or it's going to be great. You know, it's going to be one that can sell on my website. I shoot it because I like it myself.
Wow.
Right. And there's many photos out there that I really like, but for some reason, when I post it, not too many people feel the same way. So, but you know
Always
what?
the case.
It's I know it's
The
just a
stuff
photo that
the
I
stuff
like.
happens to me all the time. The stuff that I love,
Yeah.
it's like crickets. But that's just, to me, it's like whenever you have like emotion tied to it, like it can never live up to that emotion because it's yours.
Yes. And
It's
that
not
like what
you know
you
what
were
I mean?
feeling at that point in time, right? And
Like
maybe
no one else will understand.
Yes.
Feel the same kind of thing, you know?
So that's why, to answer Kara's question, it's like the most important audience in my mind is me. Like that's who I shoot for.
Yeah. That's
And
a good way
if
to
I
be.
like it, that's what I capture.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to be.
Yeah. And it just makes it easier. You don't fall into that,
the social media game.
the social media game. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Know that game well. Grace Thompson, what's your favorite photo you've taken in NYC?
Oh, that is a good question.
Jeez, good
There's
questions,
so
guys.
many, I think for me, and again, it's about the moment and the experience too.
Yeah.
It is the cherry blossoms in Central Park.
Okay.
There's a section there, and I think I have it up on my Instagram where it's right along the reservoir, the Jackie Onassis Kennedy Reservoir, and the pretty much in the middle of the park. They have these beautiful double petal deep pink blossoms. It's just like a whole row of them. And when you're walking underneath that, you have this beautiful pink canopy, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Is it?
So I think that's one of my favorite photos.
Is it this one?
Nope. Though that wasn't Central Park. I think if you scroll down a little bit lower, right there, down a lower left. Yeah, that was in Central Park.
What a nice day.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what it's like. Like that's how pink it was, right?
Mm.
And I think there's another post that I have where there's a video where I'm walking through. I just don't know where it is right now, but let's see.
Wow. I like this one.
Oh, I think it's the one. Yeah, that's in Iceland.
I know. Jesus.
I know. And I was only there for one day. I went, my mom treated us to a wonderful transatlantic cruise. And it was really bad weather. So we only ended up with one day in Iceland.
Really?
Yeah, I rented a car and we just went to the two main falls, Skoga Falls, and this one, which I can never really pronounce, Salem Foss.
Yeah.
But it was quite the experience walking behind these falls.
Well, you gave like a whole checklist. You went through the kind of
yeah.
It's good. Yeah. You got to know what you're getting yourself into, right?
Yeah. It was very slippery and I was soaked. Yeah. But it was fun. Again, that's the experience. And, this is where the photo, the photo doesn't match up to the experience itself, because the sound that you get from standing there. I think actually in this photo you might see some people there off the lower right. They're very, very tiny to give you some scale. Yeah.
Epic. Yeah. We're glad you made it there, at least for a day, right?
Yeah. I think I'll have to go back, obviously, but it was a fun experience.
100%.
Yeah.
There you are with your NDs.
My NDs, yes. My case filters that I love to use.
Are they good?
I love them. Yeah. I love well, first of all, they're easy to use, right? Because they're magnetic, right? So it's and they're light, so it's very portable. It's especially great in the winter when you don't have to use your cold fingers to unscrew the different filters. And in terms of the glass itself, it's excellent quality.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
And maybe for the people that don't know what NDs are, maybe just a quick explanation what they are.
Sure. Yeah. So ND filters, it stands for neutral density filters.
Yeah.
And I think as a simple analogy, what an ND filter is like sunglasses for your lens. Mm-hmm. So like a regular pair of sunglasses, is a little bit tinted. So when you actually put it on top of your lens, it allows for the shutter to be open a little bit longer, so that more light can come in, because it's darker to just like a sunglasses would be. Yeah. So I do use it for taking long exposures such as that. Nice. Especially in the daytime, if I want to get that silky smooth look to clouds or waterfalls, I would use an ND filter to extend that exposure time.
Yeah, exactly. So for the people that want to do something similar, you definitely need NDs.
Yeah, and there's so many different brands out there. I tend to use case magnetic ones, but there's some really great ones out there. They have circular ones. This new set that I have, the case armor system, allows me to use the circular as well as the square. Yeah. So that's something that I like to use, but it's really up to your preference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And as you can tell from my feed, I do like to shoot a lot of long exposures.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
Kira's asking, how do you find a balance between chasing a shot versus living in the moment? Ooh, that's a good one too.
Oh, that is a good one.
Jeez. You should have a podcast.
How to find a balance between chasing a shot versus living in the moment. Sometimes I have to admit, I'm so focused on chasing a shot that I shouldn't say I ignore living the moment, but I didn't appreciate the moment. Right. And I think anytime you want to catch anyone that's shot a sunrise, an alignment, you only really have that second really to catch that moment when it's first rising or it's first, where the sun moves into that spot. Yeah. But I think in terms of the moment is, I think if you are experiencing with other people too, it helps to enhance the moment, because sometimes I've been to meetups that Kurt and Eddie have put together, and when that moon first rises, people are cheering. So you have that great experience of that cheering as the moon rises, or even the alignment.
Did you go to Eddie's meetup?
To the moon alignment, I went to his meetup, his first one. I think it was in November of one year.
Did you go to the eclipse one too?
No, that one I didn't go to. I was because of my anxiety, I don't do as well when there's lots of traffic or lots of crowds. So I ended up just shooting my eclipse from my driveway. Oh. It was only a partial eclipse, but still the experience, that was a great moment, because it's just I didn't get totality, but you still had that eerie cold feeling that comes when it gets really, really dark and cold. It's kind of like, the Dementors are coming or something like that from Harry Potter. That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, it was a weird moment. It was a
weird moment. Yeah. So, I guess my condition kind of limits me to that. But sometimes I just have to weigh what's, priority for me that particular day. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Good question, Kira. Eric Suzak, what is your favorite season to shoot in?
Oh, that's a great question too. Every season has its plus and minuses.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to answer the question, I would say it would be a total of 4 weeks and that's 2 weeks in spring when it's cherry blossom time,
Yeah.
and the 2 weeks in the fall where it's peak for fall colors.
Yeah.
But it could be 2 to 4 depending on if you're able to travel, because some cherry blossoms, for example, tend to bloom a little bit earlier, for example, in New York. And then you just come back to Toronto and shoot the blossoms here. Same with fall colors. Fall colors are turn a little bit earlier here in Ontario, but you go a little bit further south, then you can extend that time. Yeah.
It's like double dipping.
It's like double dipping. Yeah.
Like double dipping.
Yeah.
It's actually.
Yeah. So it's, those are my 2 favorite times, but I can't, answer that question without doing a shout out for winter too. I do like winter photography, in the sense that I love the shot where it's just like the pristine, just freshly fallen snow, and then the snow just covers. No, that's actually sand. Actually.
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
sand.
say
Yeah,
that's not.
yeah. I wasn't banned for winter one year. If you scroll way down, you might be able to see that photo, those photos. And it happened to be. It was during. It was just when it was starting to open up during COVID, and it was still fairly reasonable to go to Banff and to Lake Louise, so we were able to go there. Yeah, that was. I think I went the following year in September. Yeah, I would like to take a shot of that. Again, that's a very, very short period of time, and I have to guess if we really want that shot, I have to just be willing to fly at any time. It's when the lake is still unfrozen like that, but there's a little bit of snow that covers the peaks and the trees. Would love to get that shot too.
The postcard material.
The postcard material, yeah.
Was it busy there when you were there?
In this particular spot?
Yeah.
In Moraine Lake? Yeah. It's when I shot this photo, actually, you could still drive up there. So we went really, really early.
Yeah.
And even then, like, we went there like I think 45 minutes before sunrise, and the parking lot was almost full.
Yeah.
And then you get in your spot there, and then I did go the evening before, which is something that I would probably recommend versus a sunrise, because I could scout the location a little bit better, so I knew where I wanted to be, and there wasn't as many people there during that time.
Yeah.
Since I took that shot, though, you can't drive up there anymore. You need to take a shuttle bus.
Oh yeah, from where?
From I think the Lake Louise parking lot. You can board it there.
How come?
I think it's just the volume, just to control the crowds of people up there at any point in time. If you for some reason aren't able to get onto a bus, for whatever reason, then you can drive up.
Oh.
Yeah. But I haven't been there since that happened, so I don't know exactly what the process is right now, but it's a must see. This is Moraine Lake, absolutely.
Of course. Yes.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, I guess imagine just driving up and there's hordes of people just around. And you're just trying to get this moment. It's like, well, why is there 100 people out here?
Yeah, and there's like, you probably seen those reels or TikTok where it goes like, this is reality and Instagram, right? Where
you're like, imagine like a quiet moment, and then you still up,
so
but
here
everyone's having a Tim's.
Yeah, like this moment here, because I was early, there wasn't as many people. Well, first of all, I got my spot, so it was a little better that way. So it's not as many people there. Yeah. But then people started to move in and sit on the rocks.
Yeah.
Which actually can make a great shot as well. I have one further down. I think somebody sat there and he was in yellow, and it really added to the moment as well.
In yellow, eh?
It's way down. You have to go way down. Yeah, way down. Because I haven't been to Banff in the winter in many years, actually. Yeah, I would like to go there. That winter that we went, it happened to have the biggest snowfall in like years. And I throw in sporadic pictures. Yeah, you have to go way down, way down. So this is fall in New York City, which I love.
That's great.
Yeah.
Look at that light.
No, the light coming in. I miss the certain times of the year when the light comes in through that middle window, or from the side windows along the side, you can get that stream of light coming in. So another opportunity. This was in the early morning.
It's like Union Station, but better.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, it's the architecture is just gorgeous there. Yeah,
it's great. I love that shot.
Thank you.
There's like a mood to that one.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So those are the fall colors I was talking to you
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. We got the bird then. That's cool.
Yeah, that was just taken at Humber Bay Park in the fall. And you have the red
Yeah.
sumac.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's good. I love it. Kira, how do you find your aesthetic vibe versus copying others? Oh, geez. Okay. Good one.
Jeez.
These are great questions, guys.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, like, like when I first started photography, I spent time looking at different people's work. And, and by doing that, number one, it
Yeah.
helped me to identify, why does that picture look so great? Then you kind of learn about composition and light and all that sort of stuff. But then after a while, you begin to say, okay, you know what? As I'm more of a kinetic learner. I actually go out and do the stuff and
Mm.
shoot it and learn how to edit and all that sort of thing. And then you start to learn what you like and what you don't like, and you gradually just develop your own
Yeah.
aesthetic. Yeah,
That's
and
pretty good.
and you know what? And if you were to ask me to describe what my style, I think I would find it very difficult to describe in words what my style is. It's just my style. This is what I do.
Yeah, when someone asks you like what's your niche? It's like, oh,
Yeah, I
me.
don't know actually. Here, just take a look at my account, and then
Me.
you have an idea.
What's
But
your
that's
thing?
just yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I've been doing this for 5-6 years now. Like, as I said, more seriously, I think it's only in the last year or even less the year that I'm at a comfort level.
Yeah.
Um,
In terms of
and
what? Just like
in
skill or
terms,
knowledge or?
yeah, I think I'm now comfortable with, like, I think when I go out now, I have an idea of what to click and what not to click, right? Like, I don't have to have 1,000 photos anymore. I know when I'm traveling that, I can cut it down to maybe 500, so
Yeah.
that is,
It's more
I'm not
intentional.
deleting as many.
It's more, yeah, it's more
Yeah,
intentional with it,
exactly.
which
That's
is
the right
good.
word. It's more
More
intentional. Yeah.
intentional with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
That
took me
goes
a
with,
while to get to that point, right?
yeah, it doesn't
And
have, doesn't,
I'm still learning, right? I'm still deleting shots that I was like, oh, that was a waste of a shot. Well, it's not really a waste because I learned that that's not something that would work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also like the learning never ends. Like it doesn't,
The
you
learning
talk to
never
someone that's
ends. Yeah.
doing this for like 60 years, probably that person's still learning.
Yeah. And that's the nature of anything
The
really,
world
especially
is,
in the creative
yeah,
arts.
the world is changing, right? It's just changing every day with like AI and everything, like technology and editing. Like it's a different
Yeah.
world. It's a different world out there.
Yeah. And I think with something like this, like, with the creative arts, like photography and anything that requires any type of technical, um, with equipment and things like that, as it evolves, we have to learn to adapt to that evolution. It's like with anything else,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because they're there to it can be there to make your life better. And if you explore those opportunities, you're exploring your own creativity.
Yeah, it depends on how you like handle, like, you take the example of AI, like you could use it for good if you know how to use it,
Mhm.
instead of kind of
Mhm.
like, say, oh, I'm anti AI. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to get even more crazier. So,
That's my exact view, right? You
you need
just
to
learn
understand
to
how to
adapt
use
with
it.
it.
How do you
Mhm.
use it, right? Because
Mhm. Mhm.
AI is everywhere, even on like my apps. Like it's on all my apps now. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, that's interesting.
What they were using, I think there was a story about how they use AI for, like, for voices now, right?
Of
Like,
course, yeah,
yeah,
of
and
course,
people are trying to, get a patent on their own voices because people are taking their voices,
yeah,
like,
it's
those
happening.
voice actors and things like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think Scarlett Johansson sued ChatGPT because they took her
they used her voice.
or
Yeah,
so much for her voice for, yeah. So
yeah.
crazy, crazy.
Mhm.
Do you use Lightroom at all or Photoshop? Like, do you use any editing platforms?
I
Much
do.
more?
I use, Lightroom as
Yeah,
my editing platform of choice, and then, of course, with that goes, Photoshop.
yeah,
I don't use a lot of AI in my work at all, other than, in Lightroom and Photoshop where they have the
yeah.
healing brush to remove,
Yeah.
unwanted artifacts and things like that,
Unwanted people.
unwanted people. Well, for example, like that the shot that I posted today,
Yeah,
that particular morning, I don't, I shouldn't have. I changed my lens at the beach, and all my photos that morning that's my pinned one, the one below it, yeah, that one there, had this artifact going right up the middle, a tiny little thing. It looked like a little hair there.
Oh,
So
really?
I had to use a heel brush to remove
Gotta
it from
do
the
it.
photo. But that really, especially in a morning like this when it was absolutely gorgeous. But it
Jeez.
had that thing, and I thought it was my lens. I cleaned my lens, and it wasn't my lens. It was actually the sensor. I had to
Oh, really?
blow it off. Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't
boy.
clean. I didn't actually have to clean. I just used that bulb thing to blow off any of the dust on it. But that seemed to do it.
I just shook it real good.
Yeah, yeah.
I always get
It wasn't even windy that morning, and I thought I'd be okay. But yeah, something got in.
Yeah, I always get so nervous with the sensor sometimes.
Yeah, no,
Gotta protect it
I'm
at all
absolutely
costs.
nervous. Yeah. I know, and he just put it upside down and all that sort of stuff, kind of enclose it. But
It's like,
yeah, I shouldn't have changed it then. I told myself, don't change your lens at the beach, but I did it that morning because I thought it was too quiet. I was quiet and still.
Yeah.
But
Sky's on fire though.
it was on
Sky's
fire.
on
And it
absolute
was
fire.
amazing. That's the best sunrise I've had there that day.
South
And this
Carolina.
is barely edited. Like I've actually, I think I put in the next one is a video. Yeah, that's the video. Like that's
I think I found my composition. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the S curve.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah.
There's no one there, right?
Yeah, it was really quiet those when the mornings there. Like when I was there in February in the morning, there were more people walking on the beaches in February.
Really?
It might be the snowbirds that are there during that time of year, and then now they've gone back, and it's pretty quiet that morning. Also, it was pretty early. It was like 5 a.m.
Yeah. Wow. Shout out to the sky though.
I know.
Shout
That was
out to the
amazing.
sky.
That was really amazing. Yeah, so the more recent photos are from South Carolina because I just came back there
Yeah.
last week.
You guys had a good time?
Oh, wonderful time. Yeah. This is just an evening walk on the beach.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it because it's so simple.
I do find myself drawn to more minimalistic compositions now. This is just a sense of calm that I get from viewing those moments, right?
Yeah.
And I like the juxtaposition of, something that's, vibrant, like the green foliage with something that seems to be long gone, but
contrast,
still, but still very, very beautiful because of the shape.
Yeah, it's a good point you make with like the contrast there. It's good. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
See, even Ollie thought it was snow. I'm like, yeah, it looks like snow a little bit.
It does look like snow. Yeah. The sand there is very, very white, actually. It's like powdery white. That's why I love the beach there so much.
And where in South Carolina is this?
This is in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So it's just right almost at the border of South Carolina and Georgia. It's only about 45 minutes from Savannah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haven't been there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Absolutely love it there.
You guys drove?
We drive, yeah. We drive with my 3 dogs.
Wow. How does that
because
work?
they love the beach. They're actually very good in the car.
Nice.
Yeah, they're very good travelers actually.
What kind of dogs?
So I have 2 Shih Tzu mixes that I got from the shelter.
Nice.
And I have a golden retriever.
Yeah.
He's the youngest one.
He's on your Instagram too.
He was on my Instagram, yeah. There he is. That's my Parker.
Oh my God.
He loves the beach. Loves it there. He hates the water though. I don't know why. He's like golden retriever, but he doesn't like the water. He's actually quite timid.
Really?
So he's but he loves running around on the beach. And at this time of year, they allow the dogs off leash before I think it's before 10 and after 6.
Wow. Traveling with 3 dogs. All right.
These are my babies.
That's awesome. And do you guys stop a lot? Like, do you stop off for photos or no? When you're driving?
No, not on the way down. We've been there so many times that we just we usually split our drive. So the first night we either sleep over in Washington D.C. or in New York. Usually it's Washington, and then we drive down the I-95 to Hilton Head, and then the way back we stopped off to New York and then headed home. Nice. We stayed a few days there.
That's a great plan you guys have.
Yeah, we have it down packed now.
Grace, which one of your photos best represents you and your interests?
Oh,
okay. All right.
Which one of the photos? Every one of them shows my interest, right? But I think if I
Yeah.
had to say, I think I tend to gravitate towards the ocean. So any
Mm.
of the shots that I have that, especially like the one with the beautiful sunrise, I think that one is me. Like that one, that's what I'm searching for. Like I'm at the, I'm a morning person.
Yeah.
I love the water. I gravitate towards the water, and it's just that sense of serenity that I feel when I'm
Yeah.
there in the morning. Yeah.
I love the water too.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
a
something
beach
about the
guy.
water.
I'm a beach guy,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Love
I
it.
am I'm not one to hang around the beach in terms of lounging and things like that. But
Mhm.
I do like walking on the beach and experiencing the sunrise and sunsets,
Yeah.
and it's just exploring the beach and the different photography opportunities
Yeah.
that I find there. It's not just about the water and the sky. There's so many um different moments to be found there, and it's a bit
Yeah.
of a challenge, but
That's
it's a
good though.
fun challenge.
Good challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
really makes you pay attention.
Yeah, you see things that you again, if I hadn't taken up photography, I would completely miss certain
Yeah.
moments when at the beach. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely a an ocean
I
sea
love
kind
it.
of girl.
I
Yeah.
love it. I learned that. Oh yeah, on the scale. Yeah. Oh, here's a Veronica. What's a challenging moment you remember that helped you grow as a photographer? Good one, Veronica.
Oh my God, that's a good one too. Well, these people.
You guys should all
These-
have your own podcast. That's all I'm saying.
What's a challenging moment you remember that helped you grow as a photographer? Um, I think any moment where you are dealing with light is a challenging moment, and um, the fleeting moments that you have with light just passing through. And if you want to get a particular shot, you just have to know that it can change with the blink of an eye.
Yeah, it does.
So you have to you have to be prepared for that moment.
Mm,
So that's and I learned that from experience. You go to a place, and if you haven't scouted before, you don't know what the light's going to be like at that particular time of
yeah,
day,
yeah,
or that particular moment. And then you just you do your plan. You know where you're going to be. You know when sunrise is going to happen or sunset's going to happen, and you can have the best plan in place. You go there, and then the weather changes, right? So it's those things that help me grow as a photographer, in the sense that it does require a lot of planning, but also to accept the fact that sometimes you just can't get the shot, and you have to come back.
yeah. I think you make a good point with just like doing like the research before, just so you know what you're doing.
It takes a lot of research, a lot of
Yeah,
using Google Maps just to
you gotta know
see
what
what
you're doing.
yeah, where to go and what it looks like when you're there, right? And then
Yeah,
but nothing will take away from actually being there and seeing for yourself where to go,
yeah.
right?
That's
We
a,
went to I was actually with Veronica out in Veronica's a friend of mine out in Death Valley, and
oh,
our
nice.
plane was delayed, so I couldn't scout the sand dunes the day before. So that particular day, the only plan I had in place was just to get there and when sunrise was, and we walked out there in the dark. Um,
Wow.
and I just took the shot from wherever I ended up, because those dunes, boy, they're hard to climb up.
Really?
Right. So
What a
we
story.
went as far as we could. And then whatever the light was at that particular moment, those were the shots that I took. But
What a
I
story.
just loved it. Loved it. We definitely go back there.
Jeez, eh?
Yeah, I think I would like to go to the desert and shoot some more of the desert, like the sand dunes, and just getting that and just
I don't know.
roaming around.
I keep hearing people go and they have amazing photos.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm a little bit anxious about getting lost. So I'm always making sure that I can see where the parking area
Yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because it's at some, you get there and everything starts to
Sure,
look the same, right?
sure,
So
sure, sure,
so
sure.
that's the challenge of that. Yeah.
Kira, what's the best tip you ever got in photography?
Well, I've
Ooh.
gotten a lot of great tips out there over the years, but I think the one that resonated with me the most was one that I got when I first started, and that was even before I started doing it
Mm,
seriously. This was back in, I can't even remember the year. I think it was before 2000, before I was diagnosed. There is a community out there called Socality. It's
okay.
Socality, started by Scott Backen out in Calgary.
Okay.
And it's actually grown to be quite a community now. And they had organized a photo walk in New York City.
Okay.
And I joined them with just my iPhone. That back then, as I said, I didn't even know what exposure was. I didn't even know what people were looking at, with their cameras and taking pictures off. So I'm just joining them on their walk.
Yeah.
And they divide into many different groups. And my group was headed by a great photographer, Garrett King, and he's known as Short Stash on
Yeah.
the Instagram.
Yeah.
And he was so patient with me because I would ask him questions. At one point, I just like, what are you looking at? Like, what are you looking at here that you're taking a picture of?
Yeah.
And he was showing me the side of a church and then the shadows and things. And I remember him saying this. He says, not in that particular moment, but I remember him telling everyone there that photography, whatever you're looking at in photography or whatever shot you get, is just one moment in time, and it will never come again. Right? You can be in the same location, same time, same day, the year later, or whatever, but it's never going to be the same again. And I remember, that I always carry around with me, because no matter, you're somewhere and your shot might be the same as somebody else's, it's not going to be the same. It's your take on it. It's your, it's what you see. It's the conditions that you have. And that puts things in perspective. So you don't feel like you're not as good as somebody else's, or you're copying somebody. It's your own work there. So I remember that particular line. And that's what I like to share with other people. It's like, your work is your work. Doesn't matter that somebody else shot the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same.
Because I think sometimes we think that, we're just shooting the CN Tower, it's all going to be the same, right? But it's a good point you make, where your work is unique.
Yeah, even how you edit it or whatever. And it's just, if you keep that, if you have that mindset in mind, then you're not, you don't feel the pressure, especially in that social media game, right? You're just shooting for yourself.
Important. Very important. Right? Very important. Good question. Good question. Veronica, what are some things you need to be mindful of when shooting out in nature that might not be obvious to most people? Nice one.
I think every environment that you go in has its own natural dangers. I think number one is that like other photographers will relate, but it is about the plan. There's so much that goes into the planning of a shot in nature that perhaps a non-photographer is not aware of. For example, even like the eclipse.
Yeah.
Those that got that totality, it was lots of preparation that came into that. Not just about scouting the location, but is about learning about your camera, about the getting the right solar filter just to make sure that it doesn't burn your sensor. All those things that goes into the plan of a shot that people may not realize. And then of course getting to that location and any physical barriers it may have getting there. Sometimes a shot is way up high that you have to hike a while to get there. And if you're not just hiking with your iPhone, that you certainly can, but often we have our tripod for sure, our backpacks with other lenses with us. So it's a bit of a physical aspect to getting to a location out in nature. But there's also times when I just go out just to go out and shoot, right? So it's
it's kind of like a balancing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But again, I think that's what separates a lot of people, just like the planning and the research. It's what separates a lot of people from their work, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you're lucky too. Like a lot of times I go out, I don't have a plan. Like I just walk out there.
Sometimes it just happens.
Sometimes it just happens, and sometimes I like that. I just like that. I just like going there. Like for example, I love going to Humber Bay Park. Right now it's just west because east I don't think is open yet. And it's a location that is close to my home, so I don't have to wake up that early for a sunrise. I go there and sometimes I'm just there and I just look for different moments, right? What has been washed up onto the shore. I've found driftwood there that I've used in my shots for my foreground. What kind of foreground can I get that particular day? So even though it's the same location,
challenging yourself to shoot.
I'm challenging myself to find different moments to shoot.
You got it. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the fun part about photography for me.
100%. I totally agree with that for sure. Veronica, if you had no limitations, what would be your top locations to photograph? Good key.
well, right now what's on my list is photographing, going to the Dolomites for sure.
Yeah. Mine too.
Because I've seen it just looks gorgeous there. I'm
Crazy.
going to Norway as well.
When
Norway
are you
has
going?
some wonderful. I'm
Are you
not
going?
going. I don't
Oh,
know. I do want to
wow.
go there to shoot in Norway,
In winter or
and then
summer?
Norway probably. I love to go in winter, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I do like that look. I know. I might be crazy, but then I worry about in the weather. Am I going to get to this look? See, that's another thing about it, when you shoot. It's a lot of my worries has to be about how am I going to get from point A to point
Yeah.
B, right? And planning that.
Yeah.
Um, I know my friend Marnie. I think you
Yeah.
interviewed Marnie
Yep.
a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago. She
Yeah.
recently went to the Antelope Canyon and loved to shoot
Stunning.
in
Yeah.
the Slot Canyon there, and Yosemite. Love to go to Yosemite. So
100%.
those are my top. I don't.
You can
I'm
make
not
it
that
happen.
adventurous. I'm not. Like for example, if someone was to take me on a African safari, I'll go, but it's not on the top of my list of my priorities
Well, I think
of
Marnie's
where I
going.
want to
I
go.
think Marnie's going.
Oh, is
Oh,
she? Oh, that's
sure.
wonderful. Yeah, yeah. Some great
That's good.
opportunities to shoot there too. But those would be my top ones.
Renee Wong, do you recommend aspiring photographers need to get a fancier camera, or can they play around first with more affordable options, or even a phone's camera?
That's another
Go
tip.
on,
That's a great question.
go on,
That's
Renee.
another tip that I've learned on that particular Socality walk.
Yeah.
You do not need a fancy camera. Absolutely not.
Mm,
Right? You can shoot with anything. And nowadays, the phone cameras do a great job. It's about the composition that you have, right? Knowing what makes a great shot. And so, in terms of what's your focal point, what are you shooting? And do you have a good foreground? Do you have a leading line, or is it being framed so that you can get a great shot there? So a lot of it is, the planning in your mind about
yeah.
what shot you want to get versus the gear that you have.
Yeah, to me, it's like if you miss the moment, you miss the moment. It doesn't matter what you have.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't.
Exactly. It's
You need to
gone.
you need
It's
to get
gone.
it. You need to at least get it. So
Yeah.
yeah, my thing with gear is like always ask yourself, like, do you need it or do you want it? Because they're
Hmm.
two very separate questions, right? Like, do you actually need it for like a specific reason, or you just want it because it's cool?
Yeah.
Because eventually
And I
the
find
shine, runs off, and it just becomes a thing.
and ask yourself, what is it about that gear that you need that your current gear doesn't give you?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So like right now I shoot with a Nikon Z5. It's one of their, I guess it's their entry level full frame camera, but it's
yeah,
pretty it's a great camera,
yeah,
and it's light, and it's very portable because it's light, and it meets my needs at this point in time. Right? I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Exactly.
I think maybe I know if someone were to give me a Nikon Z 7 7
You
II, I
take
would take it
you take
because it's a higher resolution, but it's I think that's a 48 MP and minus 24 megapixels.
yeah.
But
But as long as you get,
but do I really need that,
but do
right?
you need it though? Yeah, you got to ask yourself,
Yeah,
like, do you need it or
exactly.
do you want it? So Renee, hopefully that kind of answers your question. I suggest just start shooting stuff and
Yeah.
just keep going. Because the hardest part is just to keep going. It doesn't matter what you have. Like the hard part is actually to actually do it, to step out the door and do it, and like
And also,
consistently.
yeah, and also if you're shooting with a camera, I shot for many years with my iPhone,
Yeah,
and actually I still shoot with my iPhone. I still have it's always with me in areas where I just don't want to carry a camera around.
yeah,
Always have my iPhone with
of
me.
course.
Um, then you start to realize, you understand what is it that you want to do more of, or what do you need
Yeah.
to get a particular shot, and that's when you can start exploring other gear.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Because eventually you're going to want new gear, but again, it's tied to like a specific reason or purpose that you need it
Yeah.
because you've outgrown this, you've outgrown that. But
Like for example, if you want to shoot more long exposures, right?
yeah,
Like long exposure in the daytime, you may need to have an actual DSLR to put on a
sure,
neutral density filter,
sure, yeah.
right?
But
But they're putting like, elements into a phone camera that you can take a long exposure, and it's pretty good, right? So,
yeah, just start shooting,
right.
Renee,
Yeah.
and see what happens. Kira, I am new to photography and having trouble with embracing the silence. Any tips?
Embracing the silence of photography.
Or embracing the silence of like the process of? maybe?
I don't know if it's like I'm not quite sure where that question is coming from, but like for
Jason.
me, I like that silence, right?
Yeah.
I don't like the chaos. Even for like any kind of chaos, whether it's sound chaos or visual chaos,
Mm.
it's not something that I particularly like. So for me, I don't. I actually welcome that quiet when I'm out doing photography, right? And actually, for some reason, I don't know how this particularly works physiologically, but
Yeah.
even if I'm shooting in a loud place, like, or even where there's
Yeah.
lots of people, such as in New York, when you're in that moment, you shut out everything
Yeah.
else.
It drowns out.
It drowns out
Yeah.
everything.
Because you get into this
So yeah, and that helps me. That's where I found my piece of
mindfulness.
yeah, exactly. Mindfulness. Yeah, that's what she said.
Mm.
Mindfulness. I also
Mindfulness.
think, going back to the visual chaos, I think that's probably why I'm drawn to a more minimalistic scenes
Right.
now, and even in my work, because it's
Simplify.
just simple, simplify.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find that if I'm going somewhere, even though it may be very beautiful, I don't find it as beautiful to me because it's just too much going on for me.
Well,
Right?
I think people want simple.
Yeah,
I think
I
people
know.
want
Yeah.
less. People want less. Kind of like this, like the saying, like less is more. Sometimes
Yes. Yes.
people want
Yeah.
people want
I don't
less,
know.
but sometimes they don't know they don't know how to get it though. Sometimes
Well, I think he's kind of embracing the approach of when you have less, you actually have more, right?
Yeah, and it's tough these days to kind of like understand that because we're so used to kind of
Yeah.
like acquire, new this, new that, more apps, more this. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
interesting that like dynamic there that's going on. I think that's why
Since
like mindfulness is so like trendy right now because people really want that.
yeah. And it's very helpful when you're able to do it, right? I think in terms of, going back, and I just had a thought, like, about visual chaos. It's like,
Hmm.
and I have to ask myself, like, I might be in a beautiful location. Like I was at Zion, and it is beautiful to see, but when I look through a lens, it just seemed too chaotic for me to really appreciate a photo from there. So I didn't take too many actually in Zion. The ones that I took were actually when we were fortunate because we woke up to a fresh layer of snow. So everything was covered in white. And I think that kind of tempered it for me. And
Yeah,
that's the shot that I took there. Right.
yeah,
I just, just having so many trees going in different directions, it just, wasn't for me,
yeah. I think
you know?
sometimes you can be in a really nice spot, but it's not necessarily a photo.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right?
Well
Kind
said.
of like
Yeah.
there's like not every amazing place needs to be a photo. Sometimes it just has to be there. But like
Yeah.
everybody wants like the hero shot sometimes, but sometimes like the hero shots are like the simple shots.
And sometimes what I've learned to do too, and that's another tip out
Yeah.
there, is that sometimes you can take the shot, but when you come to editing it, crop it, right? You can just
True.
zoom in to a smaller
True.
moment.
Yeah.
And that may have been the shot, that hero shot. You just didn't see it at the time,
Yeah. Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So, and then you learn with experience what, the next time I go, I just say, okay, let me explore the more
Yeah.
zoomed in look first. Go for that smaller moment and find the beauty there.
Less is more. Less is more, guys.
Less is
Eddie's
more.
Eddie's saying
Yeah.
hello. Sorry, I missed a lot live, but I just want to say Michelle's one of my favorite GTA drivers. Technically so sound and a great eye. Shout out to Eddie.
Oh, thanks so much, Eddie. Thank you. Eddie has always been a great support
Eddie's the
to
man,
us
man.
Toronto, yeah,
Eddie's the
Toronto
man.
photographers.
We have a YouTube user, Michelle. DJ. Michelle, your inspiration to me. You turn this into more than just a portfolio. The sounds is part of what I crave the most.
Yeah, DJ, I love DJ. DJ has inspired me to really look seriously into getting a drone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and
fun.
I just worry about whether I'm coordinated enough to
Welcome to
to
it.
fly a
You can
drone.
do it.
But for me, it's more so about, again, it's about that perspective that I normally would not have been able to see.
Yes.
Like how I started photography, just looking through a camera and seeing a different perspective on nature, on life itself.
Yeah.
And I think a drone will be able to provide that for me as well.
DJ is
This
saying
is
do it.
do it. Yeah.
Never know. Maybe the next
He said
post is
that
going
to
to be
me
a
when
drone shot.
he showed me how his drone work, and I just haven't gotten to that point to save up for that.
Nothing to it. Veronica, I don't know if you already answered this. I joined a bit late, but what drew you to photography in the first place?
Yeah, that it's to serious photography, it was more so about finding something that would help my anxiety, because I had very acute periods of anxiety where it was quite debilitating. And when that happens, you're in my case anyway, I had a lot of just thoughts bouncing off of my head, and it felt like it was like this energy ball that was bouncing around. And the recommendation was to find a task that was detailed oriented, but focused and simple, that you can just focus your mind onto that task, and that will help your mind settle down and clear away all those thoughts. And photography did that for me. So that's what drew me to photography, as a way to help with my anxiety. And the more I did it, the more I realized that it was a very creative process for me too. And I don't regret it one bit.
Yeah, it's a great story, really. Kira, do you ever take a picture and edit to evoke a different emotion? Or would you edit to make the emotion more obvious? It's good because, yeah, that's how I edit. I edit the emotion, yeah.
Yeah, the answer is yes. And partly because it's like I just want to experiment, right? Just say, I see many images out there that is more of a dark and moody, and it really draws me into it. And can you create that through editing? I tried it. I don't do as good a job, so I don't know if that really works well for that. I think it's always better if you can get it in camera.
Yeah.
I just don't, maybe because I know that it wasn't shot like that purposely,
Yeah.
and I made it darker to create a mood. I always like to try to get things at the time that it happens, because it just makes it easier in the editing process.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree too. But yeah, I always try to edit to the emotion too.
Yeah.
With summertime, make it warmer. If it's winter, make it colder, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And then in terms of the color dynamic. But that being said, I don't know if I mentioned this before. I don't think every image needs to tell a story. Right? Sometimes you can just take the image because it's beautiful. That being said, just because your intent is not to have a story doesn't mean that your audience, whoever views it, does not have their own story that's evoked from seeing that image.
Exactly.
But I don't necessarily take an image because it has a story. It's just beautiful to me. That's why I took it.
You take it, and then you send it out into the world, and people can relate to it however they want to relate to it.
And that's the most beautiful. That is the most rewarding to me. Like, people can look at my image and say, "Oh, it reminds me of this, or made me feel this way." Yeah. That's what that's the goal as a photographer for me. Anyway.
Yeah, it's more like rewarding than just like likes on a photo. Like when you actually when you actually get comments like that, it feels good, right?
It feels fantastic. It's one of the greatest feelings.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Well, we're up against the hour, so I really just want to say thanks again for jumping on this thing.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for inviting me on here. I had a good time.
Did you want to share anything else?
Thank you,
Marnie's on. Shout out to Marnie. Your story is inspiring.
Yeah, Marnie's put together a great group of ladies in the GTA, which I'm a member of, and it's always wonderful to meet up with many different people. Marnie, go for the drone.
Go for the drone.
Yeah.
Oh boy! Look.
Okay, I'm gonna do that now. Go for the drone and try that. Yeah.
Look where we started. Did you want to share anything else, or did you want to give any advice for people out there?
My main advice is just if you're an aspiring photographer and you don't know exactly where you're, where you want to go with your photographic journey, just go out and shoot what you like. If you're shooting what you like and you're enjoying the moment, then everything will fall into place. Yeah, don't worry about social media and getting your name out there. Like, you just do it and enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. I like that. Thank you. Thanks everyone for tuning in, for all your great questions. Really, really good. I might have to hire you guys for a future podcast. You guys are better than me. Thank you so much. This was really inspiring. Okay, and everyone, thanks for watching and listening, wherever this thing is, and go check out Michele. The link is in the description of this video. And thanks again, Michele. Hopefully to have you
back on at some other point in time.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in. And hopefully, if you're in Toronto, I get to meet you and see you out in the community.
100%.
All right.
Love it.